What's going on, everybody? This one's going to be a relatively short one. It's one of the sharpest lines there are, and that's why it's named what it's named. This is the Bayonet Attack, like the stabby, pokey thing at the end of a rifle. And it is sharp. It's hella sharp. Comes from the Advanced Variation. I've said this a million times. Hopefully, we'll be done with these Advanced Variations soon. E4, C5, D4, D5, E5, Bishop F5. All right, now. From here, white comes out the gate swinging, since it is a very sharp line. They push the G-pawn, hitting the bishop right away. There's only two options you got, other than backtracking, coming where you came from, which is G6, which is perfectly safe, or we can throw in a sneak attack and jab that rook, see if we can fuck up some shit. White's got two main options to block. It can come in with the knight to block, which it's covered by the queen, so that's legit. If it did block with the knight, I don't know if I would want to take it, because then they got their queen out, and pawns are going to be getting ugly. But the second option they have, which they're going to take, I say it all the time, if you have the option to kick out a piece with a pawn push, do it. They lose a tempo. You're developing. Win-win. So you have to go back to G6 now. It's the Bayonet Attack. Any idea what's going on? Pawn push. They come in with E6 now. And you definitely don't want to let that hang out there. Because if you developed another piece or pushed your F pawn, allowing it to stay there, now it's got an outpost where if it slides a queen in there, checkmate. And just got a hole there. And you're just asking for the F pawn to march up and have a pawn chain like right up in your grill on the third row of your lawn. So, not good. What do? You capture. Ugly pawn structure. You still only have two pawn islands. No isolated pawns yet. But it's what you got to deal with. You know, it's the Bayonet Attack. Any idea what's next? Yup. Pawn push. H4. If we go back to the first line that we did on the classic variation, in the beginning of the series, we discussed anytime they push H4, they're trying to trap your bishop. If you were naive, developed a knight, boom, hitting that. Well, I guess since your F-pawn's gone, you could technically squeeze in here, right? That's kind of cute. So what do? You push back. They push H4, you push H5. You capiche. Done. Zip it. So, after you push the H5 pawn, white, after doing all that harassing of your bishop, doing all those pawn pushing, brings out his bishop looking to exchange. I would say you could tuck it back, but you're going to have an ugly rook. So you more or less, you got to take it. And white will recapture with the queen. Now, you have some options here. But before we get to those options, the best move, after calculating it out, is queen to D6. Because G3. Checking them. They got nothing to block it with. They're going to have to move the king. They're going to lose their castling rights and potentially picking up the rook, depending on where they go and what their options are from their previous move. And I'm just going to point out the Bayonet Attack. Look at this board. It's a nightmare. There are pawns everywhere. And the only pieces developed are queens. There's holes, pawns, doubles everywhere, and there's only queens developed. It's nightmarish. So from here, white is going to go ahead and what do we got here? Yeah, white is going to go ahead and develop the knight to e2, stopping you from developing that queen on g3, stopping it. And you're going to go ahead and develop your knight to d7. White's going to come in and give you a nice check. Hey, now. Give you a nice check on g6. And you don't have anything to block it with, so you got to sidestep. And once you sidestep, white's going to bring in their bishop on g5, attacking that e7 pawn, x-raying your king behind it. And you're going to plug up that hole with your other knight that was sitting on g8 and develop it to f6. And from here, that is the end of the line. Just some theoretical ideas. White's going to develop a knight. Eventually, you do want to push this e-pawn. You want to push it up, and it opens everything up. Now your queen has access to the knight. You're really looking good here. I mean, the computer analysis says that you're almost up a full pawn. And before those theoretical moves, at the end of the line, same thing. You are in the lead, as ugly as your scars are from getting shanked by a bayonet. And it keeps going up. Sweet. So, this concludes one of the scariest, I guess, lines, and one of the toughest to remember, even though it's not that long. It's just weird. So, anywho, this concludes it, and we will catch you on the next. I appreciate you. And I think we're probably going to do the tail next. Tails, like Sonic.